What's up, Capricorn, and welcome to your June 2020 Creativity Tarot reading. My name is Kayleigh, and welcome to my channel. I record these readings for artists, entrepreneurs, and anyone who is working on their personal growth, self-expression, or spirituality in any form. So if those areas of life are important for you, I encourage you to go ahead and keep listening. I also want to say, because I get asked this a lot, you can use this reading for your sun, moon, or your rising sign. And it's also possible sometimes none of them resonate because they are just general readings. And a lot of the time, the feedback that I get is that the readings tend to make a lot more sense at the end of the month, more so than in the beginning. So if you want to experiment with that, I encourage you to come back to this video and see if there were any themes, at the end of the month, if there were any themes that did actually seem like they connected somewhat to your life experience. All right, Cap, so let's get into your meditation message. Oh, I was feeling it. I was feeling it for you. The first thing that I got when I was tuning in for you guys was just a general kind of feeling of like almost needing to let go of something. But the way that I mean that is more in terms of like self-forgiveness, interestingly. So I was kind of seeing someone like going like this, but then they were also kind of like doing this, and they sort of like put their head down. And so I don't know if it's something maybe that you've been hard on yourself for that was like maybe in your past, or if you are dealing with something at the moment that is triggering a fear of a particular kind of criticism, maybe. Like if you are considering putting out some kind of work into the world, and you are fearful that maybe you're going to get criticized for that in some way, similar to maybe some kind of criticism that you got on creative work in the past. That could be an example. It could also be, like I said, self-forgiveness, like being hard on yourself for something that you didn't do, that you wish that you would have done in your past. I don't know exactly what this is, and for everybody it's going to be a little bit different because you all actually, have unique experiences going on in your life, but I do feel this really overwhelming message coming through, and I actually did just now see like a big swan in my mind's eye. So just like there's this feeling of grace, I guess, that's coming through for you spiritually, that's saying, have some grace for yourself right now. And I think that you're going to find that if you just go with the flow a little bit more, and you just let go of maybe fears about disappointments and criticisms or things from the past, or forgive yourself for things that maybe you neglected to do in the past, and just allow yourself to take the actions that would be in your best interest and in your highest good right now, then none of that stuff is going to matter, right? Like the future is the important place to put your focus right now. And I think that you are actually, throughout June, you're going to feel stronger and stronger and stronger throughout the month. So that's really the message that I get, is like releasing some kind of area of tension within yourself where you might be guilting yourself for something that you didn't do or that you did do, and just really focusing on like behaving and putting forward the actions and the intentions that that are in your highest good moving forward, and really focusing on that, because really Capricorns are so hard on themselves. Like I have a lot of Capricorns around me, and you guys are just some of the most amazing people, but you're so hard on yourselves, like way harder than you would ever be on someone else. So just keep that in mind, and don't worry so much about making sure that you feel, I guess, I don't know, I feel like sometimes there can be a tendency to almost like inwardly punish yourself with your thought process, like because you think on some level that if you feel really bad about something, then you won't make that mistake again. But the message I get is like, Capricorn, like this is so not as big of a deal as you might think, and like everything's fine. Everything's gonna be fine. Like that's the message. So if you're a Capricorn and you've been feeling this, just know that this is such a temporary little thing, that you're troubled by this, and that it really doesn't define you. It doesn't define anything about your path as a creator or as an artist or as, you know, a spouse or a parent, or I'm getting teary, but it's like, this doesn't define you. Like, whatever this is that you're being so hard on yourself for, it doesn't define you at all. And yeah, I think that you're going to be able to actually move forward on whatever this subject is, and you're going to be, I guess I just want to say, you're going to feel like so uplifted, because you're going to realize that whatever experiences you've had, they haven't been wasted, and that you've learned something from everything that you've gone through, and your commitment, you know, to improving your own reactions and your own responsiveness to life is going to show through. So let's take a look at your tarot cards, and we'll get some more information. We'll get your bell rest message. All right, let's take a look at your path and the obstacle. So your path is the dolphin card. Oh, so beautiful. And the obstacle is the peacock. Interesting. Yeah, so this is really making a lot of sense. Capricorn, I feel, I mean, this is such an, like, it almost feels like random to see these animals together, but at the same time, I really feel like I understand what this reading is trying to communicate. So with the dolphin as your path, obviously in June, your path is one of joy. This is the message of the dolphin, you know, as a symbol is joy, really. It's about lightheartedness. It's about emanating vibrations of joy from you. So being also like an inspiration to other people, but not because you're necessarily trying to, it's just because you're enjoying the moment, right? And that is infectious when you're letting out your sense of humor a little bit, or you're being playful, or you're being kind of lighthearted. That just, that goes out, and that really affects other people around you, or other people who follow you. If you have a YouTube channel, or if you have a social media presence, or if you have a business, that attitude and that vibration really affects everybody else around you. So really, you know, focusing on joy, focusing on what you love. And again, you know, I come back to this theme that came through in the meditation of not letting fear of criticism stop you from pursuing your joy. So if you're an author, for example, and what you really want to do is write an amazing book that you feel really speaks to and resonates with, like, the vision that you have for the story, not letting criticism, you know, the fear of criticism of you know, critics come and stop you from doing that, right? Like, if you're a musician, it's like, just make your song, just make your album, just go for it, and be in the process of joy of creating it. Like, that's what it's for. That is what this is for. And if other people get to, you know, if you publish it, if you decide to share it, if it goes out into the world and other people get to enjoy it too, that's amazing. But primarily, you know, like, the greatest work comes through the channel that really resonates with, like, what it's doing, right? Like, if you're a clear channel, then you're going to be in the zone when you're working, and you're going to feel that upliftment. The challenge in this reading is the peacock, and if you know anything about peacocks, or if you read the description in this deck of this card, peacocks can digest almost anything. They have a really robust digestive system, and so when this card comes up, it honestly, like, it kind of refers to your ability to assimilate even really difficult experiences in your life and really make them work for you. And what I get with this is, like, Capricorn, it's like there's dignity there's dignity in owning every experience that you've had as like a business owner or a creator or as a parent or, whatever. Even the challenging experiences have given you the most payoff, because really, like, you learn the most from the difficult experiences that you have. That's true of any of us. When things are going well and things are easy, we learn about kind of going with the flow and we get to enjoy things. But when the rubber really hits the road in terms of our personal growth is often through challenge. That's where we grow the most. So with this peacock card and the dolphin, it's like recognizing the dignity and the self-respect that your path requires of you in order for you to keep pursuing what you really love. This isn't about trying to be perfect. This isn't about trying to project an ideal persona to the world. This isn't about not making mistakes, right? Like, this is about having the dignity, to the personal dignity and the personal self-respect, to be like, yeah, I don't know if I'm doing this right, but I am doing this in the best way that I know that how I can in this moment. And just picking yourself up when you fall down, that's everything, Capricorn. That's like the story of life. That's the story of every hero's journey, is owning those mistakes and owning also what we don't know, right? So that's what I'm kind of seeing in your themes, overall themes for the month. Let's take a look at your tarot cards. So we've got Three of Wands, King of Swords, Five of Cups, and the Star. The Devil and the Seven of Swords, the Two of Cups, and the Six of Swords. Interesting. So I do see a lot of like hopefulness within you and a lot of desire to be strong at this time. As you go into June, there is like almost this awareness that you are undertaking a very, what do I want to say? Like, it's almost like that you're taking some kind of a life-changing journey. And that's this guy with the Three of Wands in his back is to us. That's you, Capricorn. You are sort of taking yourself on this new journey. And the King of Swords, I feel in this example, may not necessarily be representing another person in your life, although some of you, it could be representing an air sign person that you're like working with, or that you are in a relationship with, somebody who maybe has like a very stern approach to life in some ways, or who is almost like a fatherly energy as well. I'm kind of getting with this. But if it's not an external person, this is about like your attitude and your approach. It's almost like you're solemnly taking yourself on this journey towards like a higher truth of some kind with the King of Swords. It's like there's a seriousness to this reading. There's a seriousness to your path. And this is really, again, like I said, where the rubber meets the road, because if you don't take something that should be taken seriously, if you don't take it seriously, it's like you end up feeling foolish in a way, or you end up feeling like you didn't take responsibility for something that you should have done that for. So there's something here about really like honoring something that is right, and because it's right, not because it's convenient, not because it's the simple solution, right? This is something that you're doing because you feel on some level that it's the right thing for you to do. And again, it may or may not have to do with something like legal or something having to do with like activism. There could be an element of that, but it could also just be like you taking control of your life in some way, taking accountability in some way for your life, and really allowing yourself to take maybe that risk, because with the King of Swords, there's like a righteousness to this choice. This is a radical choice for you. And it has to do with being honest and blunt and speaking your truth, you know? That's really what we see here. And so with the Five of Cups and the star, it's like, yes, like you knew around that time of the lunar eclipse. By the way, the lunar eclipse on June 5th was happening in your 12th house. So it's in Sagittarius, which is your 12th house. So this is like that 12th house stuff. This is like that hidden part of you that needs to be seen. This is that underlying, purpose that you have in your life that you have to honor, and you've known that you've had to honor it for a while, and now it's like you're really pushing for that. And you may know that you're making some sacrifices because the Five of Cups is here with the star. So it's like what you are afraid of maybe having happen in the second week of June is almost like you're recognizing that there's something in your life with the Five of Cups that does need to be released. And it's not the most exciting thing. It's not something that you're maybe looking forward to. But with the star card here, it's like, like there's meaning behind this. This reminds me a lot of Viktor Frankl's book on making meaning. Basically just that as human beings, we are meaning makers, and we go through so many challenges in our lifetime. No matter what situation we're born into, we all encounter challenges. But if we understand the meaning of what we're going through, then that makes pretty much anything like endurable, right? And Capricorns, I think, being the Saturn ruled sign, and like a very prominent, Aquarius, in my opinion, is Saturn ruled as well, but Capricorn really holds like a lot of the power of Saturn in a lot of ways to me. With these cards, it's almost like you are able to really tap into that power, that Saturnian power, which again, it's like Saturn is the freaking heavy hitter of the cosmos. Like Saturn is one of the most powerful planets. It's hard to say anything is more powerful than the sun, just because the sun is like the center of our solar system. But Saturn really, Saturn is the heavy hitter. Saturn can influence and ultimately can direct almost anything, And so when I look at this, I feel like there is that sense of seriousness again, with that sense of recognizing that some of these cups are going to have to get spilt, and you might have to make a little bit of a mess of things so that you can invite a better order into your life. But that's what the star is coming up here for. It's saying like that that there is meaning in what's going on. That there is a higher truth and a higher purpose that you're serving. And so whatever difficulties you experience, or if you get criticized, or if you get have a difficult conversation with someone, the star card is really showing you that like this whole time you're going to know that all of this is worth it, whatever it is, because you're being so authentic, and because you do feel that sense that there is something on the horizon that's better for you. So you just have to kind of keep taking those steps to get yourself there. The third week of June, we have the Devil and the Seven of Swords. So I want to say that for some of you, there could be almost like I'm not sure if it's you or if it's someone else, because the Devil card does represent Capricorn as an archetype. So the astrological association of the Devil card is with the sign of Capricorn, and a lot of times, we think of the Devil card as this like, ooh, scary thing, but it's actually, if we go into like pre-Christian lore, the devil really was the demonization of the god Pan, right? And Pan was the god of nature. He was the god of, authentic, natural sensuality, the senses, the animal being within humans. Which is the most like raw part of us. That's the most unself-conscious, unfiltered, way that human beings can express themselves, is really like embodied by the archetype of Pan. And so if we kind of like look at this card, knowing that depth and that history, that this is an archetype that was demonized, but that was for religious purposes, and that it doesn't necessarily represent something bad within us. The Seven of Swords, I feel, is almost like there's this potential within you to, in that third week of June, there's like a temptation, I want to say, to like abandon something about yourself. And this is turning into like a really powerful reading. So maybe this is just for like a couple people out there. But when I'm looking at this, I feel like self-abandonment is a theme that needs to be recognized. It's not that it's like a huge deal, you know, because life will go on. You'll have a better month next month. I'm not saying that this is going to be a bad month, but I think that it's like with these energies, there's like the potential, because you might be afraid of either what someone would think about something. You might be afraid of criticism that you would get. You may be afraid of speaking your truth in some way. And so that's why I think this card is representing you. And it's like the authenticity of the God Pan, like the raw, authentic truth of you, your true desires. And with the Seven of Swords, there's a lot of pressure on you from your environment that's making you feel like you want to have one foot out the door, because you don't want to necessarily show up and be your full, raw, you know, godly Pan self, and then have that be mocked or criticized, or, you know, have that truth be sort of stomped on in some way. But I want to tell you, Capricorn, that I think if you can go through this experience of the fear that might lead you to, you know, potentially abandoning your true self in some situation, if you stick with that discomfort, I think it's going to be really amazing what comes out of it. It's almost like there's a lot of monsters in mythology that once the person actually faces the monster, they find out that it's actually just like a little mouse that was, you know, this big illusion that was cast by some, you know, bad wizard or whatever. And then like when they actually go to attack the monster back or stand up to it, then it like shrinks down into this little cute little mouse. And they're like, wait a minute, that's all this was the whole time? Like I had this worked into my worldview as like this is this huge scary monster. And it can be really strange to recognize that when you turn to face it, it's not what you thought. It's a lot less than you thought it was. So that's what I also want to convey here, is like if you are Capricorn and you're dealing with some really powerful fears about either putting yourself out there or speaking your truth in a relationship or starting a new journey in your life, this reading is very, very strong for you. This is letting you know, it's validating the fact that you are wrestling with some very, very primal emotions. And your fears, you might be telling yourself that your fears are silly, or that they are, you know, ridiculous, and that you're being petty, or that you're getting caught up in your head, but you're not. You're actually going through a really powerful spiritual experience. And so I want you to get support with that. If you relate to this reading, I want you to maybe talk with someone like a friend, because a lot of times we can work this stuff up to be bigger, you know, in our minds than it actually is. And a lot of times we also really learn by talking out loud. So, and having our ideas like bounced back to us in dialogue with a person who is mature, obviously, and grounded and is safe for you to talk to. So I want to encourage you to maybe get some support, maybe see a counselor or talk with a very supportive friend or family member that you know also will be like honest with you too, so you can trust their opinion. But I also feel like, you know, this is going to get so much better when you just come out with it. It's like rip the Band-Aid off, or, you know, that kind of energy. And again, this could be a big thing for some of you. It could be a little thing for others of you. But I am getting this sense that these are the moments, Capricorn, these are the moments where we really experience a lot of growth. And these are the moments where they can really be turning points for us. But it starts with you and it ends with you, and the whole middle part is you. So everything in this is you. You have your power. You have the ability to experience this however you want to. And you can define yourself in a more ethical way, like treating yourself more fairly. Treat yourself fairly, Capricorn. That's what I really want to say about this. Also, I want to add too that if there is a fear of criticism, it's like nobody can reflect back to you exactly the truth because they're looking through their own window. So nobody has the whole story. And I think that it's really important to remember that whether you're getting praised or you're getting criticized, no reflection is going to be absolutely clear that anybody reflects back to you. So just keep that in mind, that you actually are the one that can most constructively be the conscientious judge of your own character and your own behavior, because you're the only one who knows your story, your whole story. So take that power back as well, and don't let fear of judgment or fear of being beheld, by other people. Don't let that stop you, and don't let that control your perception of yourself. The last week of June, we have the Two of Cups and the Six of Swords. So some of you could, at the end of the month, be going on a trip with your partner. That's one thing that I could see. You might be going on a trip with also just like a friend or a business partner, but there's something here about, getting out of your normal surroundings at the end of the month. So you could be planning a trip. Maybe there's an unexpected trip. Or others of you could be meeting someone for the first time who you're actually going to go on a pretty powerful journey with the Six of Swords. This person could be a healing individual, like somebody who just, when you meet them, you just feel understood and there's just like a natural kinship there. You're like, wow, there's places we can go with this. But definitely the end of the month, the energy starts to shift and you're feeling very blessed and you feel like you really know who your friends are, and you've got just some really supportive people at your back, and you're moving on to the future, like seeing a bright future on the horizon. So I really like that. Let's take a look at your Bob Ross message. Okay, he says, if I paint something, I don't want to have to explain what it is. And I feel like that is so interesting considering the messages that have been coming through to this point about the fear of criticism. That fear is so real. It's so real for everyone. And there's no way to get around it, because when you put yourself out there, there's always going to be haters. There's going to be people who don't like what you do and let you know about it, no matter what kind of creator you are. So looking at this, I feel like this is saying you don't have to explain yourself, Capricorn. You don't have to explain what you're doing, because you're making stuff primarily for you. And then secondarily, you're making it for, whoever resonates with it. But you're not making it for people who are going to be like, can you explain to me what this is? So I don't even know what it is. It's probably not for you then. You don't have to worry about that. Or let's say you make some I don't know, keto cupcakes or some vegan cupcakes or some, thing that you're experimenting with for yourself, and people are like, oh, it's that, how do you not cook with eggs? Or how do you not use sugar? But they say it with an attitude. It's you can just go, you can do something, whatever you want. But this particular expression of my creativity just isn't your thing, obviously. So it's kind of like that. I feel like that's kind of the energy here. Okay, so your surrender card, I just got everybody a surrender card. It's surrender to prayer. Give yourself over completely to prayer. When you pray from your heart, you'll be heard throughout the universe, and answers and support will arrive. Gorgeous. So yeah, surrender to prayer. You can get support with whatever you feel you need if you just ask for it, Capricorn. Thank you so much for being here. I hope this reading has been beneficial. If you enjoyed it, please leave me a little purple heart comment below. I love getting those from you guys, and it just feels like a sweet little cosmic high five. So thank you so much for being here. You can also thumbs up this video and subscribe to my channel. Hit the bell so you don't miss a reading. And yeah, I just hope that you have an amazing month in June. Thank you so much for being here, and I will talk to you next time.